everyone. I'm Michelle, and this is Living Life in the River. And we want to talk about something that's kind of ticklish, and it's the difference between, or how do you make the transition between attending at a particular church or particular local family to actually investing your life, investing part of your life, investing time in serving. So, because there's a difference, right? There's a difference between a coming, park, sit, say hi, hello, and then at the end of the service, the dismissal after the benediction, saying bye and leaving. There's a difference between that and actually
participating,
serving, participating, locking arms with people, with others who are working, I'm using that advisedly, in the church. So, Malinda, what's your story? Tell us your story, or how did this happen?
Okay. Well, I hope our story, because I have to say it's our story, helps someone.
Yes.
Many years ago, Mia was a year old. I'll try to make it short, but
many years
ago. She's old now. She was about a year old, and I started to attend church again. I hadn't attended church for many years. That's what we Christians call backslidden. And so I knew that I was at a point in my life where things were basically falling apart. That's how I felt. I felt I lost control of my life, marriage, everything. And but I knew on the inside, in my Noah, on the inside, that I needed God. He was the only solution, the only answer. But I'd been away from church so long, how do I even start? And I think a lot of people wonder, okay, how do I even start to go back to church? So I didn't even pray about it, I think. I just felt in my heart that I needed to go to Living Word. I had attended there when I was much younger, grew up there. So I went back there. When I started to attend there again, Mia was a year, and really, and I think I have to say this, it's okay if you come to church at first for a reason, like to be healed, to find healing, to find your solution. That's what the church is for. It's for the hurting, the broken. You understand? It's okay to come for that, if that's what brought you back to God, right? So I basically went back to church for that, because I needed healing, I needed help, I needed. So I got that. So let me just say I found that. Right? The Lord healed me, He helped me, He built me up, and it's because I stayed rooted and grounded in Him. And I continued to attend church faithfully every weekend. And then I started to feel, okay, I've been receiving, I'm so full, but I felt I needed to be involved.
But did anybody say anything to you? Was it that anybody said anything to you?
No, I saw, but I was observing.
Oh, okay.
I was observing. Okay. I saw the worship team. I saw the musicians. I saw Sister Pat would be opening and closing. And, I would see different members of the church functioning and doing things. But, a beautiful thing happens when you begin to grow in the Lord, and He begins to heal you, and you become who you're supposed to be. As you're becoming who you're supposed to be, doesn't mean you're all healed and perfectly fine and put back together. It's okay to begin to function while He's working on you. Okay? It's okay. And I said, you know what? I wanted to help, to do something, because I wanted more of God. I wanted more of Him. And what I was getting there, I wanted to give back somehow. They were, and I have to say they, because it was not just Pastor Sammy preaching the word, it was the prayer, the worship, the body itself. And I wanted my child to be brought up in the house of the Lord. I didn't want her to have to go through what I went through, what I was going through. I didn't want her to have a life in the world, because I knew the world was a fraud. Fraud, complete fraud, right? So that's what I wanted. She was my main reason as well, one of my main reasons. So I think I approached Pastor and I said, look, I want to do something, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, whether it's greeting or whatever. So I started to help clean toilets.
Yeah.
If that's what needed to be done.
Yeah.
I helped clean the toilets and the sink, and I would sweep. After church, I would help clean up a little bit. But then years later, as that continued, stayed grounded, and as that continued, then I felt I really wanted more.
Yeah.
So I asked Pastor if he needed an assistant. And at this point, I had my own business. It was an event business. And whilst I needed money because of the business. That's why you're in business, right? To make money. Yeah. But I wanted more of God.
Yeah.
Somehow I just wanted that more.
Yeah.
And I felt Pastor needed the help.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you're functioning properly, when you are a properly functioning member of the body of Christ,
yes.
the desire should be there.
Yes.
The desire should be there. After receiving,
yes.
you want to give out. You want to give
Right.
because that shows the life of God in you.
Yes.
So I think the question would be, if someone is coming and just sitting and has no desire whatsoever to serve in the house, it's important you check yourself and see if there's something not functioning, not working right, something not right in your relationship with God.
Yes.
Because you're supposed to want to.
Yeah.
The desire is supposed to be there.
Yes.
We serve a God who is a God of generosity, a giving God.
Yeah.
True.
So when we take in and just take in and take in and take in,
Right.
and never have the desire to give out,
Yes.
it shows that there's something wrong, something not functioning properly, and it's important you check yourself.
Yeah. And it's okay to sit for a while,
Yeah.
Let's just be clear. It's okay to sit for a while.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting for years, I wouldn't even say for years, to be honestly.
Yeah.
I would not say years, because when you invite Holy Spirit into your situation, at least in my situation, okay? I can't speak for everybody, but in my situation, because I invited him into my life and into my child's life, it's like things that would have taken a year.
Come on now.
Took months.
Come on.
Things that, listen, who recovers from a divorce in like months? You understand?
Yeah.
Who, you have no money, you're working, you're trying to mind this child, whatever, and not one day did I ever feel like I lacked anything.
Yeah.
She lacked for nothing.
Yeah.
And when I had that my business, which I loved, I really loved my business, but that desire to serve and to help Pastor Sammy, it just wasn't letting me go.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. And so when I offered my services, I'm telling this joke because I always remember, he's like, you are overqualified for this job. He's like, I can't pay you what I'm supposed to pay you. We laughed about So I was like, well, whatever, it's fine. I don't know how it's going to work in terms of, but I believe this is what the Lord wants me to do. And so that journey started with him and serving under him, helping him. Then I became more involved in the doing of the church itself, different aspects of helping him run the church and do things. And that made a huge difference in my life, up until his passing. And then a new season. And, Mia, during those years, she never lacked anything. And I want to say that. I want to say that to single parents. I don't like saying single mothers. People like to harp on these single mother thing. I'm not one of those. Single parents, because they are faithful fathers out there taking care of their children, right? And God is your provider.
Yeah.
He works on the hearts of people, and he opens doors for us that ensures that our children never lack. Never, never, never lack. Once you make a decision that he is guiding you to take and telling you to take, and you're obedient, your children will eat the fruit of that obedience.
Yeah.
Right? And so the amazing thing is, the day before Pastor Sammy passed away, I was at a workshop, Christian workshop, business workshop, and a leader from another church who I know well, you know, he was talking to me about my business, and because I would still do it a little bit on the side, and he said, Malinda, you know, I feel the Lord is telling me your season is going to change very soon. And listen, boom, the next day, we got the news, Pastor Sammy passed away in the night, and immediately the Holy Spirit brought that word to me.
Okay.
And I was like, my God, I didn't think it would be so fast that my season would change. And since then, my two beautiful pastors are here. You all became my pastors, and it was just a whole different leg of a journey there. Like you said, gears shifted. Yes. I'm asleep one night, and I hear the Lord calling me very loud, Dorcas. And I'm like, what is Dorcas? I said, what is Dorcas, Lord? I remember saying that loud. I had no idea. I had to Google it. And then I learned it was Tabitha from the book of Acts in chapter 9. And she helped, you know, the widowed and the orphans. And she just helped the poor and the needy. And that's something that's been close to my heart since I was a little girl. And then that's when another gear shifted. And then, Mia, maybe you could take over at this point in terms of you. I'll pass the baton to Mia in terms of us functioning.
We'll just throw you in the deep end.
There's so much more I can say, but yeah.
I think from there, that's when Mom she would have been involved before, but then at this point, she would have been even more involved because now she's on the board of directors, and you know, that's big step from being pastor's assistant. But then for me too, I was not as involved in the beginning as she was, but then I guess...
I don't seem to remember any time that Mia was not. Really?
I remember meetings we'd have, and Mia'd be there on the side, like doing her schoolwork or something. But there.
I was there maybe, but I wasn't like doing anything much. At this point, we were upstairs by your house. So at that time, I was not very involved. But then, also very soon after the beginning of ITR, that's when I would have started helping Pastor Robin on the media team and stuff. But even that was not something that I imagined myself doing. That was just something that Mom would have said, well, you know, we're gonna go to church this weekend and you're gonna help Pastor Robin with the laptop and with the media. So I said, okay, you know, because can't say anything else. But it's not even like that I was involved before that, because I do remember just sitting in the back upstairs and Mika and I are like talking during service. We were, maybe I shouldn't say that.
That sounds like me.
You know, like I wasn't doing anything. We were coloring on the children's coloring sheets and we weren't supposed to be. You know, so it's not like that I was super involved. But then I started on the media team. And then very shortly after, we would have moved to Wellness House. And then that's probably when I really got even more involved and helping on the media team and being part of the media team became more voluntary than Mom actually forcing me to do it. I think even if she would have been very disappointed if I said, I don't want to do this today, it was still, she wouldn't say like, well, you have no choice, you have to go. It was that, okay, but you have to talk to your pastor about not doing it today, you know? So eventually it became voluntary and I found myself wanting to be more involved and wanting to actually help. And then even so, wanting to see more people helping on the media team as well. It wasn't just for myself. It was wanting to see more people helping and then wanting to be able to actually work with other people, you know, not just us doing it on our own.
I think there was a time when I think there had to be a step up. Like there was a point where I asked you whether you're doing this, whether you wanted to do it or whether your mother was forcing you to do it, whether she told you to do it. because I could sense a shift, that there was a change in attitude.
Yeah.
And then you did answer. You said you wanted to do it.
No, yeah. It even if it wasn't the media team, even if I didn't get the chance to help on the media team, I feel even then I still would have wanted to help in some way.
Yes.
No matter what it was. And even now, you know, anything now, I'm on the media team, on the worship team, and if anybody else asks me to do something for the house especially, I will so willingly do it. If we just need help to, like, well, we have people who wipe and spray the chairs after service and stuff, but like, even if I have to do that, if I have to if your glasses have to go downstairs, help Auntie Pat do something, you know, I'm willing to do it. But that's a big step from where I was in the beginning, because when it became voluntary, that's when I found myself actually starting to understand what it meant to be a servant in the house, and how that doesn't just affect your Christian life, but just your whole life in general, outside of church and outside of the time that you spend with God, or whatever time that is, in my school life, in my social life, with friends, with family and stuff. That's when everything started to, I don't know, I don't want to say change or like become better, but there was a difference, you know? I think at that time, I was in Form 1, and then Form 2 and Form 1, those were very strange years for me, because I went from a private school to this secondary school. I had no idea what to expect whatsoever. And I did find myself being caught up in like wanting to make more friends and wanting to fit in and wanting to change my opinions just so that I would be accepted in different friend groups and stuff. But then when I come to church on a weekend, I'll be reminded, Mia, that is not what you're supposed to be doing, you know? And so that would all affect, and then being involved, it means that I really had no choice but to pay attention to the message that was being delivered, and to actually receiving what I had to receive that weekend. And so instead of just sitting on the chairs, you know, you might get tired or something. So I really did receive every weekend, especially from being involved and from serving in the house. That helped me in my day-to-day life during the week, in keeping my head straight. In school, from so young, trying to navigate my way through this thing. And then eventually in like Form 3, that's when I think there was another change where I would have learned how to spend more time in the Word, and learned how to actually try to focus on reading the Word. In Form 3, I really started like before school, waking up early to read the Word, and I think I would have fasted properly for the first time in Form 3 as well. And it was just, at that time I feel, was really when I found like who I was supposed to be.
I'm feeling a glow coming from your mum. The glow is getting brighter. Sorry to interrupt, but I just had to mention that.
But yeah, that would have been the time when I really started to find out like who I was meant to be, things that I really loved, friends that I should not have been friends with, friends that I should be friends with, being okay with not being friends with certain people and not fitting in certain groups, you know. And then same time in Form 3, that's when the pandemic would have hit. And during that time also, we would have had prayer meeting. And so y'all would pick me up and we would come to prayer meeting, and I would help with the laptop and the stream and stuff. And at that time too, even if some days I didn't really feel like coming to prayer meeting, it wasn't like a chore. It was something that I wanted to do. Again, wanting to help and wanting to just be part of what was going on in the house. That too would have taught me how to pray, or just help me to pay attention to the elders who were praying, and just receiving from them and really appreciating them in the house, and learning from them as well how we should pray. And then that too would have encouraged me in praying on my own at home, because at that time too we would not have been able to have church physically. So I think some days Mom and I would watch the stream together for services. But even some days, if she wasn't able to watch, I would make sure to watch. We would make sure to take on notes, try as much as possible to pay attention, not get distracted by the other things going on in the house. And every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we were sitting there to really pay attention to the stream. And all of that helped me as well during the pandemic, because I mean, that was a hard time for everybody trying to get adjusted to so many different things. And I mean, online school was something that was a huge challenge for me. It really was, that was not my time at all. But all of that would have helped me just to cope with all of those things and to really push through it and thrive at the end. And then even so, when school would have started back physically, we still had church going on, and we still, I feel at this time, I would have started on the worship team. So we still had to come to worship practice and do all of these things. But being involved and being present and participating, those were things that were not so much chores for me, and it was not like a disruption in the weekly schedule, you know. That was something that I had to work everything else around. It wasn't working, coming to church and functioning. It wasn't like working that around something else.
No,
like,
because that's our life.
Yes, this is our lifestyle now, you know, to function in the house. And now that I look back and I see how I wasn't even aware that's how I was doing it, you know, that just became natural. But I see now how that would have benefited me in so many different areas, and I didn't even realize it was benefiting me in terms of my friends, in terms of my education and my grades and my schoolwork, and my motivation to do schoolwork and all of those things in the family and just in every single area. You see how that kind of what you receive on a weekend, and when you come and function in the house, when you receive from there, you see how that spills over in every other area of your life.
Affects everything.
Yes, and it's all for your good. Even if you might be like tired or something. Once you make that effort, you will reap the rewards. You know.
You hit on so many buzzwords.
And that's and sowing also. You're sowing and you're reaping. You expect a harvest. What you sow through effort, through talent, through time, you will reap a benefit. Because God, He's no man's debtor. It's a principle that what you sow, you will reap.
Amazing.
There is seed time and harvest.
Yes, there is.
And then also, I think people have to understand, we all have to understand that when you serve in the church, it doesn't mean that you're going to be an apostle, a prophet, an evangelist, a pastor, a teacher. It just means that you're using what God has given you. You're investing it in the kingdom. And whether those returns come in the church or outside in school or at work, you will reap a benefit. And I think the things that we learn in church, working and ministering, that you use throughout your life and in different aspects of your life. You can apply it to as much to your work life and your family life as you could apply it to the church life.
So true.
So that's why I think it's so important that everybody gets involved. Do something. Participate. Be part of the assembly. Serve each other. Because you're reaping benefits. You're going to get benefits for yourself. Inside, outside, all around, in whatever part of life God can give you. I mean, He opens up. He opens up so many opportunities because we serve in the church. Because we serve Him in the assembly.
And you can't lose.
No.
You can't lose. I just want to let everybody know that Mia did extremely well in her school exams, and that was with her school lessons, right? Extracurricular activities such as she plays the pan, so she's a musician, and being here to serve the people of God.
And during the pandemic too.
And during the pandemic, post-pandemic, mid-pandemic, all the different aspects of the pandemic. And she was doing all that out of a heart of love for God first, for Jesus, and out of a heart of love for the house. And so you really can't lose. You really can't lose. Mia used so many buzzwords that I'm just buzzing with all the kinds of words she used. So I'm tempted to say, welcome to keeping your head straight. Yeah. She uses that. Welcome to keeping your head straight. This is Living Life in the River, and thanks for joining us as we looked at this aspect of serving in the house of the Lord.